Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Driver error, excessive speed and underlying health issues have been identified by a coroner as key factors in the deaths of 4 experienced rally drivers taking part in Targa Tasmania. Today's findings, the last hurdle before a new look, safer Targa returns from its 3-year hiatus in November.
It's a world-renowned motorsport race that turned deadly. Shane Navin, Lee Mundy, Dennis Neagle and Anthony Seymour, 4 men killed in 3 separate crashes in 2021 and 2022. In his findings, coroner Simon Cooper said the fatalities were caused by driver error, stating all of the men who died were experienced competitors. They all knew the risks of competing. 68-year-old veteran driver Shane Navin drowned after his car flipped into Double Barrel Creek, east of Queenstown on April 23, 2021. The following day, Lee Mundy and Dennis Neagle, both in the same car, died in a crash on Wattle Grove Road near Cygnet. The coroner stating, "I am satisfied that the speed at which Mr Mundy approached the crest was excessive, dangerous and unnecessary." The next year, 59-year-old Anthony Seymour died when his car crashed through a barrier, down an embankment and hit a tree. The coroner again blaming speed. "I do not consider Mr Mundy and Mr Seymour took adequate precautions and care for their own safety by driving at speeds that were, in all of the circumstances, excessive. I consider Mr Navin's death was also due to driver error." Mr Cooper found all 4 men had pre-existing health conditions and all were taking medication, but that the driver licensing system that existed at the time could not have factored in their medical conditions as an impediment to racing. The family of the deceased appeared in court via Zoom, while Targa CEO Mark Perry was in the public gallery to hear the findings. Mr Cooper went on to say Targa's internal investigation recommendations were comprehensive and that most, if not all, have already been implemented. He added there should be careful consideration of both the mental and physical fitness of competitors, with the event set to return in November. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
To a recent development now in the shooting death of Constable Keith Smith. Nick Kelly has the details, and Nick, a man has just been charged.
The 46-year-old North Modern man, police say, gunned down Constable Smith on Monday morning, faced a bedside court hearing a short time ago. He's charged with murder, attempted murder and aggravated assault. Accused of taking the life of Constable Smith, would arrive to serve a court-ordered warrant to repossess the man's home. There's been some delay in pressing these charges. Detectives only speaking with the man today as he recovers from injuries. He remains here under police guard and will face court again at a later date.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Bruce Learman has pleaded not guilty to stealing a Toyota Prado from a Mountain River home in November last year. The former Liberal staffer phoned in for his appearance at the Hobart Magistrates Court this morning, but he failed to answer the first time. Magistrate Reg Marin scolding Learman's lawyer, saying your client needs to be ready to go. The case is set to return in mid-November. One person has been taken to hospital after being involved in a 2-vehicle crash on the Sorell Causeway. Emergency services were called to the scene just before noon, prompting police to close the road in both directions between Sorell and Midway Point while investigations got underway. One of the occupants sustained non-life-threatening injuries. No one else was hurt. The 2 major party leaders have been placed under the microscope as the election campaign heats up. Labor's Dean Winter has quashed doubts over his commitment to the Macquarie Point Stadium, while Jeremy Rockcliffe is facing calls to stand up to one of his own candidates.
Days after appearing to question special legislation that would fast-track the Macquarie Point Stadium and open the door to Stadium 2.0 last night.
Finding the right approval process to maximise the chances of actually getting it built is the most important priority here.
We're open-minded to other proposals if the first one couldn't operate.
Labor leader Dean Winter has today firmly ruled out the alternative option and is committing to enabling laws.
The only way for Tasmania to meet the AFL's timelines is through legislation and building the stadium as currently proposed.
Though the Greens still want both major parties to scrap the divisive development, despite the no stadium, no team deal still remaining in play.
Both the Liberal and Labor parties are now lockstep in terms of the Macquarie Point Stadium, including the legislation and including the massive budget and the future budget blowouts that will come with this development.
The Premier is also being pushed to drop controversial Bass candidate Dr Julie Sladden after she signed an open letter opposing gender-affirming treatment for young people.
It demonstrates that Jeremy Rockliff is not really the leader of the Liberal Party, or if he is a very weak leader. He is not standing up to these views, which are hard right conservative views.
I've always supported a very inclusive Tasmania, where people, irrespective of circumstance or background, are supported, encouraged to be the best they can be.
The Liberals' latest election pledge, $5 million to help up to 2,500 women with costs for IVF or other similar services.
This scenario is just going to give so much joy and motivation and an achievability to people that need to know that IVF can happen, you can have a family.
While Labor promises to cut through red tape and speed up housing and other builds through a new body, Renew Tas.
What something like this authority will do will bring land to market that's otherwise been unfeasible. That inevitably means more Tasmanians into homes that they desperately need at the moment.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Prioritise people over projects. That's the message Tasmania's peak mental health body is sending to election candidates. The Mental Health Council of Tasmania is urging all political parties to commit to addressing 3 key concerns: long-term funding certainty, a dedicated 5% of the mental health budget for prevention and early intervention, plus improved coordination across the mental health system.
Community services, mental health sector particularly, really needs some funding certainty so we can invest in our staff, we can invest in the infrastructure in our organisations and deliver on our promise to the Tasmanian community.
The council says more funding would result in fewer hospital admissions, readmissions and homelessness. The biggest weekend on Launceston's cultural calendar is expanding, with the Junction Arts Festival holding this year's edition over 2 weekends. Now in its 15th year, Junction is marking the milestone with a special anniversary event ahead of its signature fixture. And as an added birthday surprise, Junction will host Airship Orchestra, a larger-than-life art installation promising to light up the heart of Launceston.
A beautiful soft sculpture that kind of encompasses quite a large landscape. It's interactive, has beautiful light elements.
I think the fact that we have lasted for 15 years continues to give us hope that the community wants art festivals and that we have relevance.
The festival will come to life from September 12. It's a tough job deciding which works hang in an art gallery, but kids from kindergarten to year 6 are taking care of that this week for QV Mag. Launceston Church Grammar students poring over NAIDOC Week paintings today for the Art Start exhibition, and there's a rigorous selection process.
How much courage they put in it and how much detail, how much effort. They're very bright.
I think they're all really cool, a very varied range. I like how people have interpreted it differently.
The works will be on display from Saturday next week until November. Well, Devil's excitement is leading to young players signing up for footy in droves in places like Somerset, which has just added a junior program to meet demand with some help from the AFL.
Being new, being a senior club and introducing juniors, we're a little bit in the dark with how things sort of worked and how they went.
Not just kids that are typically involved in football communities, it's also kids who have never really resonated with football or any form of sport before.
The region currently makes up an incredible 4% of players signed up for the new Super Kick program Australia-wide.
The North versus South rivalry is certainly heating up as the Rep Series is decided on Saturday between the SFL and NTFA men and women. The Southern host dropping entry to $5 to get plenty of fans through the gate.
I just encourage as many Southerners to get along as possibly can at a discount rate to see their side go down.
The SFL welcomes you here and will send you home a loser.
The players are staying a bit more diplomatic though.
Pretty tightly contested, I reckon. North Hobart's typically a smaller ground, great for contested footy. So yeah, I'm going to be probably won and lost in the midfield.
We've had a few changes, some injuries and a couple of girls unavailable. So we are running a bit of a different team, but confident that we can get the job done.
Play begins with the women at midday Saturday at North Hobart Oval. The Hurricanes hang on to Chris Jordan next season. The reigning premier is naming him in the first round as a pre-signing. Round 2, they chose Bangladeshi Rashad Hussain and Englishman Rayhan Ahmed in the fourth. The Canes pre-signed English captain and talented all-rounder Nat Skyver-Brunt in the WBBL, retained Danny White-Hodge in the first round. Lindsay Smith went in round 4. And Launceston Tornado Keely Froling is switching WNBL clubs. The Launceston native leaving Geelong for the Sydney Flames the 2025-2026 season. She previously captained the side for 2 years. At least she will be sticking around in Launceston as far as we know.
Yeah, good. OK, thank you very much, Nick. Well, Murph will join us after the break with the weather forecast.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 15 today, just 11 in Launceston, Devonport a high of 13 degrees. Campania and Smithton our top with 16. It was 15 at Friendly Beaches and King Island. Flinders Island, St Helens and Bushy Park all 14. Strawn 13. Lyowini a high of 9. The whole state saw a bit of cloud cover today. The best rainfall to 4 p.m. was 13 millimetres at Mount Reid. Zeehan recorded 9. Southern parts of WA had scattered cloud, a high band moved over the Adelaide region and patchy low cloud over the eastern seaboard today. Tomorrow the slow-moving high over New South Wales extends a ridge over most of Australia. A weak trough there in the west attached to a cold front. Here are the winds for tomorrow. Northwesterlies at 20 to 30 knots over the west and south, at 15 knots over northern waters and lighter over the inland lakes. We do have a strong wind warning. And that's between Tasman Island and Sandy Cape for those northwesterlies to 30 knots. Forecast for tomorrow, 16 for Hobart and partly cloudy. Huonville the same, 17 the top for Campania. Launceston a high tomorrow of 16 degrees, a cloudy day. Devonport cloudy and 15, 14 for Georgetown. Looks like fine everywhere around the state, bit of cloud for everyone. Burnie 15, 16 for Strawn, cloudy for Wynyard and 15 the high. St Helens tomorrow, 17 degrees, same for Swansea. Port Arthur a partly cloudy, 15. On to Saturday, fine and mostly sunny after patchy inland fog. The fine settled conditions continue into and through Sunday. And on Monday, fine for Swansea and Hobart, a few showers over other areas. Rain increasing over Perth tomorrow. Sunny weather in Adelaide and Melbourne, -5 and a frosty morning in Canberra. Sunny and 17 in Sydney, a partly cloudy 23 in Brisbane. Bit of cloud over Hobart right now. It's 12, 11 in Launceston, currently in Devonport 12 degrees. Got to remind people, Kim, that it's Speak Up, Stay Chatty Shorts Day tomorrow. You can still get on the line and support the fundraising. I'm all sorted with my shorts. I know you're having trouble, Kim, so you can wear my old ones from the last couple of years.
Oh, please no. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.